Pope John Paul II was born on May 18, 1920 in Wadowice, Poland. He attended college in 1938 where he showed an interest in theater. The school was closed the next year, but he still continued his studies and eventually became a priest in 1946. John Paul became the Bishop of Envie in 1958 and then the Archbishop of Krakow 6 years later. He participated in Vatican II and helped the Church examine its position in the world. John Paul was made a cardinal in 1967 by Pope Paul VI.
We still haven't elected a pope. Hurry! Go tell them to make the smoke black.
How come we still don't have a pope after voting for 7 times? I'm getting out of this place.
Hopefully, this last one will be the final time, and we'll finally elect a pope.
6.5 hours later.
Go tell them to make the smoke white. We have finally elected a pope!
On October 16, 1978, after 3 days and 8 ballots of voting, Karol Joseph Wojtyła was elected as the new pope. He became the first non-Italian pope in more than 400 years and took the name Pope John Paul II.
Are your legs hairy? And it takes hours for you just to shave them? Why are you shaving your legs in the sink?
Because when you're desperate, you're desperate.
Well, we have great news for you.
Just gently apply the product to the area you would like to shave, make sure your skin is dry, and apply the product in a thick, even layer for best results. Then wait a few minutes, but no longer than 10, and then wipe away in gentle circular motions. Your legs will come out silky smooth and hair-free, guaranteed.
If you don't want any of the hair, use Nair.
On May 13, 1981, Pope John Paul II was arriving back at St. Peter's Square. The Pope had just returned a baby he was holding to an eager mother when Mehmet Ali Agca pulled the trigger and shot John Paul II twice, missing vital organs. Mehmet also injured bystanders and was intending to fire more shots before 2 heroic bystanders courageously knocked the gun out of his hands. Pope John Paul II was rushed to an ambulance, but the ambulance would not work. The irony of this situation happened to be that the Pope had blessed a never-before-used ambulance the day before, and he said, "I also give my blessings to this ambulance's first patient," which happened to be the Pope himself. The Pope underwent 5 gruesome hours of surgery while the whole world prayed for him. The Pope later visited his attacker in prison and forgave him. In 1991, the first 5 symptoms of Parkinson's disease were diagnosed to John Paul II, and it wasn't until 2001 when an orthopedic surgeon confirmed the Pope had the disease. The Vatican didn't publicly recognize that he had the disease until 2003, meaning they hid his illness for 12 years. Then, nearly 2 years later, on April 2, 2005, Pope John Paul II passed away. After Pope John Paul II passed away in 2005, people around the world began to feel his loss. The Pope made huge contributions to today's church, and many people knew him as the most traveled Pope. Pope John Paul II served in the Vatican for 27 years and brought up many important questions and was an advocate for human rights. French nun Marie Savin-Pierre was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2001, which caused her to retire from helping patients in nursing homes. When the Pope died in 2005, her condition worsened and she began to pray to him daily. 2 months later, she woke up in perfect condition and began to write in clear, legible writing, something that is uncommon for someone diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Marie says that she was suddenly cured of her illness, all thanks to the Pope.
On May 1st, 2011, Floribeth Mora Diaz was lying paralyzed in her bed, clutching a magazine with the Pope's face on it, when he suddenly appeared to her in a vision and said,
Floribeth, what are you doing here? Get up and go into the kitchen and see your husband.
Floribeth responded saying she felt fine and that she was going to the kitchen to see him. Floribeth's neurosurgeons are also convinced that this was a miracle. It was not long before the Vatican contacted her in what was the start of a long process for Pope John Paul II to become canonized as a saint.
Pope John Paul II was beatified by Pope Benedict XVI on May 1, 2011, and canonized in 2014 along with Pope John XXIII. Pope John Paul II was known for many things throughout his life, including being a strong advocate for human rights, helping to establish stability in many Catholic circles following the Council of Vatican II, and starting World Youth Day in 1985. During his 27 years of holding office, Pope John Paul II became known as the most photographed pope in history. Although he was only pope for a few years when we were alive, we can say that we may know more about him than the average person thanks to the research done for this video.
Are your legs hairy? And it takes hours.
Hey.
It's upside down.
Yeah.